What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala. We are recording at night today.
Yeah.
Got a cup of coffee in front of me as we record our first of 3 podcasts this week, which is what we do every week as we dissect the hottest news and the buzziest topics with a touch of what, Terence?
Touch of humor, man.
Humor.
You're one of those. You're one of those that has to drink coffee at night.
I mean, just today lah, because last night I actually watched the final game of the season.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch any Premier League games the whole season, and then I ended up watching the last game because my friend reminded me about it. So I watched it.
Do you watch it on Singtel? Because there was a huge blackout for half an hour.
Oh no, I didn't.
The Singtel cast. Singtel
there was a
cast
blackout.
Was
shit!
As in Singtel cast died for half an hour. So for 30 minutes, like there was no football. It was impossible to watch any football.
Oh shit, man.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, so
very, very reliable Singtel connections. But yeah.
Yay, Singtel.
Yeah. So where do you watch it on?
At my friend's place. I think he has StarHub. I think StarHub.
It's through. Maybe it's through on TV or what lah. So
mine
was the app, so it was kind of tricky, but exciting.
So it was all good, man. Yeah, it was exciting, and I mean, what blew me away was the fans are back in the stadium. Were those the first games? No, right? The fans were already back, right?
The fans. It depends on which stadium you go to, but some of them they were starting to have more and more fans back already. But no, it wasn't the first game. No.
I remember my friend reminded me, I was like, oh, it's nice to have fans. I was like, wait, there are fans? Then I was like, oh shit, because I think I've gotten used to like the inserted crowd cheers and the crowd singing and all. Yeah, seeing fans, holy shit. Of course, no one was wearing masks, so I don't know how they managed that.
Yeah.
But it was nice lah.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, I think even for players like Bruno Fernandes for Man U, he hasn't really played in front of a live crowd until recently or something like that.
Yeah.
Some crazy statistics.
Yeah,
fucking insane, man.
Yeah.
It's like you're dating online for fucking long and then you finally meet your other half.
Yeah, and it's the final match of the season.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing. But I mean, same thing for the NBA as well. As they enter into the playoffs right now, the crowds are back, so it's pretty exciting.
The crowds are back.
Yeah. Can't believe that we're at this point where we're like, we're happy to see groups of people thronging together, right?
Yeah, but I guess that's also weird, right? I mean, the crowds are back in some countries, but in other countries, people are getting locked in,
Yeah.
Right.
Like
that's the state of the world today, man.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Other than that, like speaking of state of the world, there's also a dystopian state of the world that we created, that we want to plug, which was our Audible original pilot, which is it's a 30+ minute,
35 minute,
35 minute like narrative. There's based, it's kind of like a Black Mirror-ish kind of universe that we created, and it stars some of the best voice talent that we could work with in Singapore. One of them has a very bad sore throat right now. He's clearing his throat a lot. It's Harish, obviously. But we also have Noah Yap, Joe Tan, Adelina, Elliot from Three Potatoes from before. Yeah, so it's
Rishi Budrani, Paul Foster.
So it's not only multi-talented but also multicultural group, man.
And all of whom were directed by Terence. But yeah, I mean, we mentioned this on the previous podcast. If you haven't listened, if you have ever wanted to support Yalabat, if you ever thought, oh my god, this is fucking dope, how can I support them? Now is the time. Go to the link in the show notes, listen to the pilot, leave a comment, leave a rating, share it with people, because the only way this will be made into a full series by Audible is if the pilot does well.
Yeah. So does well meaning again. Does well. Let's recap. Meaning you got to listen to it. You got to leave a comment. Leave a comment. Put a rating on it. Like engage with it. Discuss with others. Tell one other person about it as well.
Yeah, just like our podcast. Correct. You've heard the plug before. Now it's just for our scripted audio pilot.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
So let's move along to the first order of the day. What's our first stop, lah? Our first stop. Since we're talking about SMRT.
Our first stop is concerning the SMRT Facebook page. And if you're listening and you think, oh shit, SMRT has a feedback page. SMRT Feedback Facebook page. And if you're thinking that, oh shit, SMRT has a feedback page on Facebook, that's fucking great. Then please come out from under the rock you've been living in. Living under. What the hell? See, this is what happens when you record at night. I think I need to have a sip of coffee. But yes, there's the SMRT feedback page, which started off as a satirical, trollish page in 2012. And recently, last Friday, they put up a post on May 21st that kind of talked about... It started off by saying, I used to think Lee Kuan Yew was a racist when he didn't allow Muslims to serve in sensitive military positions except for a few token mutts. And then, but now I understand why. And then the writer goes on to say that by and large, Muslims will always put religion above everything else. So I think he also he or she made a reference to the Palestine Israel issue and kind of hypothesized what would be the case if in Singapore a Muslim had to decide between country and religion lah. And the best thing to do is not put them in a position to help that forces them to decide. I paraphrase a lot, but that was the gist of it.
Yeah.
Right? And there were 3,000 plus reactions, there were debates and rebuttals in the comments. And then someone by the name of Shaizana, come on Tab, don't fail me now.
Doesn't matter.
Shaizana Yahya. She filed a police report against it because she felt it was seditious.
Against the page, not him. The post
against
and the page.
Against the page and the post. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. And since then, SMRT Feedback has deleted that post. They issued an apology in the form of a post, and Shaizana has said that she is not going to retract the police report, which means the police investigation will have to happen.
Yeah.
So that was the crux of it.
And subsequently, the SMRT Feedback page has disappeared, right?
Oh no, it's back.
Oh, it's back again?
Yeah, it's back.
Oh, it's back again. And what
Yeah,
did did they post anything?
No, they have their last post was just a meme about circuit breaker and smoking and all that. So they've moved on already lah.
I see.
Yeah. Oh no, so the latest post is the apology where they say, okay, I have deleted the post on behalf of the team of SMRT Feedback by the Vigilante. I apologize for any offense caused to the Muslim community. And then the writer goes on to kind of explain their stance in that post, but still again apologize lah.
But before jumping more into it, like could you give some context about what you know about SMRT Feedback's origins and who's behind it and everything? Because it's actually not been, although to many of us who follow the online space very closely, we're very familiar with SMRT Feedback, but actually they've not been, the front and center of people's minds for quite a number of years already, right? So like broadly speaking, when someone says SMRT Feedback, what do you think of?
Kind of edgy humor lah, or edgy attempts at humor.
Really? Still considered edgy?
No, that was you asked me what was my first thought, right? But then I think over the years, that USP has been eroded lah. So my first thought is that, and then slowly I come back. I was like, no, I have not been liking their posts for a long time, to the point where I don't even see their posts until now lah, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I remember in 2012. 2012 was the online space was such a different time, right? So, them coming forward and they were sort of almost seen as like the anti-heroes of the online space, right? Where if some wrong was done, for example, I think remember Jover Chu, the guy who used he used very unscrupulous methods to get tourists to pay for very unnecessary warranties when they came to Singapore to buy iPhones and stuff like that lah. This was a store in Sim Lim lah. And to the point where one of the tourists was even on the floor begging for his money back. So the owner of Jover Chu, everything, I think he got doxed essentially by SMRT Feedback, if I'm not wrong. This is one case that I remember very clearly, that SMRT Feedback was seen as like the so-called the like what they call themselves, the vigilante. Yeah, the one that since police can't do anything, since all these people are powerless, they're going to step in and help by basically being the ultimate troll and doxing the so-called evil parties involved. So at that point of time, in 2012, it was seen as a, like what you said, very edgy, very it was towing the line between I don't even think the word doxing even was around at that point of time, right? It was just like basically CSIing someone's entire details and putting them on the internet, So yeah, they I think they served a very different purpose back in 2012 compared to now, But you were saying something, sorry?
I mean, they were. I think their first claim to fame was when they sent a bunch of pizzas to Jova Chu's address.
Correct.
Right, that was in 2012. But to rewind back a little further, the page was actually started in 2011 and it was started shortly after the first major MRT disruption of that year or up till that point, And they started on Twitter and Facebook, basically going and responding to comments on SMRT's Facebook page. So people would complain, and then they would, with the handle SMRT Feedback, reply very, very witty responses, So they were getting some traction as a humor page, but then when Jova Chu, that incident happened, they took on the crusade of being like social justice, right?
Yeah.
And then they continued to get traction. I think in 2013 or something, when Xiaxue had the whole debacle against Gush Cloud, they stepped in and then they did an expose on Xiaxue, and then there was some debate there. Then in the 2015 elections, I think they even wrote a manifesto proclaiming to maybe even start their own party, and they were still well known at that point in time.
Yeah, correct.
And the thing that happened then was there was one of the apparently OG founders who kind of declared his identity as being one of the people behind the page. His name was Azli.
Yeah.
But since then, there have been like 2G and 3G admins.
Yeah.
So the page, and this is what they refer to as themselves, like 2G, 3G admins. And yeah, they kind of fell off into obscurity the past few years.
And not only just obscurity, but just like the I don't know, there's so even trolling and bullying people to some extent, right? I think there are levels to it, and it just felt I just felt a lot of the stuff that they were focusing on just started to get more and more basic, if you know what I mean.
Basic,
in millennial parlance, right? Like, it just wasn't very thought provoking or very well researched or having very well argued points of views or anything, Case in point, which is this article, this post that they did also, I just felt it was a very it states a point of view but doesn't thoroughly back it up with a lot of good examples or evidence or anything like that. So I used to think that SMRT Feedback was run by potentially a group of lawyers or something like that who knew what who seemed to know what they were talking about, lawyers or journalists or smart people and all, but less so recently, less so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll put a link to a Mothership article in the show notes that has the post, the now deleted post. And they basically did make some broad blanket statements. Like literally, if Palestine is being attacked, I can bet 99.99% of Muslims will side with Palestinian people, with the 0.01% being the token mutts. Nothing wrong with siding with Palestinians. And then they go on to talk about Singapore's relationship with Israel. So a few blanket statements, and it felt like even if you want to put up an argument, right, feels like you put up an argument like this, the focus is not going to be on the argument. It's going to be on these broad blanket statements, and then when the police report was filed, I think generally based on what I read from the comments, everyone felt that SMRT Feedback did write something seditious, something that deserved the police report, and Shaizana was getting a lot of props. And I mean, I think she explained why she's not going to retract the police report because she referred to Ms. Raisha Khan, the WP candidate who last year had police reports lodged against her for tweets she posted a few years prior, and 2 years ago with Pretty Please and Subhash Nair when they made the rap video against the Dennis Chu incident with Enets. So in this case, I mean, like looking at that whole roller coaster ride of things, what do you think of the whole thing, or any thoughts that stick out or not?
I mean, I think Alfian Syed, he posted about the reporting of the police report. He said he's still feeling very ambivalent about it because I think similar to him, I also feel that do we really want to live in a society where everything happy only straight away report police, my feelings are hurt, report police right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I mean, the law is the law right? And
Yeah.
if they've quite clearly broken the law by saying something seditious, we should apply the rules the same way, whether it's to Pretty Please or to Raisha or to SMRT Feedback. I felt like it's very offensive what they posted. Completely,
And why?
completely void of any real evidence or anything worth discussing, as a real talking point lah.
So why would you say it's offensive?
Because it has. I mean, it's not meant to spark any discussion. It's almost, this guy already has it in his mind already that 99.9%. I am sure 99.9%. Blah blah. That kind of language that they're using. It's that kind of very dismissive kind of generalizations, hasty generalizations that unless you really pull out the evidence and everything, I think that's what they are generalizations and then they're used to just paint very broad strokes about people, which essentially is what racism is about right? You see one person behaving a certain way, then you think that the whole group of people behaves that way. Sorry, you're saying something?
No, my first thought is that maybe I should utter those words back to you the next time you quote Indian matchmaking from Netflix. Just a heads up. Just a heads up. I've recorded that and it'll be immortalized.
But she has helped so many couples get together.
You're talking about who? What's her name? What's the name?
I can't remember, but she's from Bombay.
From Bombay. Correct, she's from Bombay.
Yeah,
Seema, is it? Seema from Bombay.
Seema from Bombay, yeah.
Seema from Bombay.
She has evidence. She has evidence. She's got a whole book of evidence.
She has anecdotal records and all that.
Yes, correct.
So I guess because like I read Alfian Saad's post and I did agree that really, I mean, there's every time you hear in Singapore people say everything fucking call police, and then this one, a post was made and then the police report So my initial reaction was like, really, like, is that the best way? But going back to what you said, like looking at what they posted, like there's this one paragraph where it's like towards the end and they literally say, but if you put a Muslim in a sensitive position where he has to deal with Israeli tech, which he knows is the same tech that is used to lay siege on Palestine, how do you think he will react? Would he then been laden with guilt? So there's already that association with Osama bin Laden.
Exactly.
Would his responsibilities as a Singaporean be overridden by his duties as a Muslim? That is the reality and that is the truth. Let's not kid ourselves. So I guess when that kind of statement, it really does paint a fucking broad stroke across all Malays and Muslims in Singapore.
And if he's trying to be funny, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by basic like that kind of. I mean, wordplay can be funny right? Wordplay can be funny, but not when you reduce it to simple ethnic or religious stereotypes like that I think. Those days of the Russell Peters, that kind of like maybe I also laughed at it last time, 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people laughed at it, dude.
Yeah,
he was the highest paid comedian for a few years.
Yeah, do the right thing, and I would laugh at Chinese people. Even a movie that I love, like 500 Days of Summer. Chinese people, the way we look becomes a punchline, And over time I realized, I mean, why it's just not funny already, Not that it's offensive. I think it's just not funny anymore, So that's why I feel like even like that whole Bin Laden thing is just not funny already, And for them to like trot it out like it was like the best thing that they wrote. That's why I felt like the quality of the laughs also is not there already,
Yeah, and then I mean, like, it's not even one of those things that if you really look, it's even hard to argue for SMRT feedback, because with those sort of statements, which is why I guess when they did their apology, which, okay, I think the thing about SMRT feedback over the years, I mean, from the start, they've always had this air of arrogance, which when they were posting funny shit and doing cool shit, it kind of was warranted. But then now they still feel like they're on this moral high horse, which, because in the apology, they basically said, let me put it out here that the previous post was not in any way construed to question the loyalty of Muslims in Singapore, but to reaffirm a Muslim's commitment to his religion. That's not really that true. So the thing is,
you're saying that's not true because?
No, because he basically did make enough associations that kind of applied to Singaporean Muslims lah.
Yeah.
Right. So for them to go back and say this, it feels like, oh fuck, like just shut the fuck up lah. And then
it's a non-apology lah, right? It's basically
it's a non-apology. It's the epitome of a non-apology lah. Yeah. But then the thing that I haven't seen come up anywhere, which I hope at some point it is discussed, is the reality that there seems to still be a ceiling for Malays and Muslims in the defense force, in the Singapore Armed Forces. And I don't think that is just me speculating. I do feel that just if you look at the stats of people in positions of power and command in the armed forces, it doesn't really add up or match. But at no point is anyone talking about that.
So, you talking about commentators, or the commenters?
No, like the fact that, okay, as stupid as the post from SMRT feedback was, I think most people would agree that there is that sort of disconnect a surprise. Even if you look at your own friends, it's part of the cultural zeitgeist, right? That your Malay friends will go to police.
Yeah.
There's enough of that happening where you kind of look at it and what's going on there? And it's never really been discussed in public since Lee Kuan Yew, right? But that feels like something that should be addressed. Worth discussing. The thing about Pretty Please and Subhash Nair last time when they made the rap video, even though I also disagree with the rap video, I do recall that over the next week there were a lot of discussions about Chinese privilege, racial inequality and all that. So now I hope it evolves to something that's more than just this kind of stupid post.
Yeah, and that's where I guess you are the police report being filed and subsequently Shazana continuing, I mean, not retracting or what, kind of it has a little bit of a tit for tat kind of feel, right? An eye for an eye kind of feel, as opposed to, the bringing up the real discussions that should be brought up from a post like this, like why, like what you say, if there really is a discrepancy in the numbers, hopefully we can get more numbers from we can get more data. It's made more available for people to look at, and and more discussions about that. But then I think she points her police report. She orients her police report more towards a revenge kind of police report against the other side And so that's the part that I felt a bit is a lost opportunity. But at the same time, I'm not the one who would be taking the most offense from this post So I don't want to tell her that what she should be doing with the police report and everything
Yeah, I mean, I hope there are updates, because the thing about her background also, right? She's not she's not someone who you can might be someone who doesn't understand the law or something, because she's a lawyer, dude. And she just left the law firm Eugene Thurai Singham LLP, and from what I've heard, from what I've read up, that particular law firm does do a lot of work for social causes and if you go to her Facebook page, which is public, you can also see that she's quite a frequent poster of issues that are important to her, which I respect. So hopefully something comes out of this. Something constructive comes out of this.
Actually, the one thing that I really hope comes out of this is can we get rid of the anonymity of SMRT feedback? Because I feel that anybody these days who and I know people on Reddit also who disagree with me, because I said before, if you are commenting on Reddit and you're using a throwaway account and you're not no karma and all that kind of thing, I generally will be less inclined to really take to heart what is written, right? So in the same way, I feel like if you're in this day and age where you want to play the game of like, social media trolling and being a, big page, funny and all these kind of things, and making half-assed apologies and all, there has to be a name to it lah. You put your name out there lah. Don't shy away. Don't shy away. Everyone needs to know who you are also lah.
And that's also something that Alfian Saad pointed out, right? That the good thing about a police report is that the police have powers that be that lay people don't have, and one of which could be for SMRT Feedback to reveal their identity, because they're not just a small page. They're you can argue they have a page of significant influence. I think they have like 354,000 followers.
Yeah.
And there is a company that I think has ownership of them. It's Rockefeller something.
Oh, yeah. How do you know
it's an advertising agency. There were a few articles that talked about their background.
So it's run by an ad agency lah.
It's run by an ad agency because I recall 2015, 2016 they got bought over or kind of acquired by an ad agency. So they became the advertising arm lah.
Yeah.
Through branded content and all. So they still do a lot of organic content, but there is an entity behind them. And the guy Azli, who was one of the OGs of SMRT, he also has a few businesses in the content space. So there's definitely, they even call themselves like the council, like the people who run the page. I'm like, yo, just I know you think you're like anonymous and like that V for Vendetta feel, but come on, man. Yeah. I think Alfian Saad also pointed out that the icon, the profile pic of the page is a kind of like a modified picture of Zubir Said, which like holds a very prominent background in Singapore history, and they kind of put a pixelated cigar and sunglasses on him.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I've just all these years I've never felt entirely comfortable with that line of like, every time someone, SMRT Feedback, so fantastic, quickly tag them and all that kind of thing. SMRT Feedback, please do your thing and all that kind. It's just like, it brings you back to those days where there was just like, there was nothing to protect people from doxing, the really bad side of the things. And and I mean, I guess the law was waiting to catch up with the technology, but and they were just in the right place at the right time to exploit that loophole that was there. But now, those loopholes have been, you not just covered up, but POFMAT up, like POFMAT and the anti-harassment laws and everything already. So, yeah, I mean, SMRT Feedback, I think you got to sort of change your role as well. You got to evolve with the times, And I would really love it if you start by also just revealing who the hell you guys are as well.
Yeah. I mean, like the anonymous thing is like just stop being like, for all your high and mightiness, right?
Yeah.
Come out and show us your face.
Yeah.
But going back to something you said, about how you don't care about throwaway accounts and all. So if I were to change my Reddit profile name to like Sexy Mama 2021, you won't give a shit about my comments, is it?
Less likely, yeah. It will be down.
Less likely.
I mean, the algorithm itself, it will be downranked, It's not going to pop up the first.
No,
the most relevant. No, unless I search for newest comment. But I usually have it on best comment or
Sexy Mama 2021 might put a fucking dope comment, okay?
I mean, if it's just
you wait. Sexy Mama 2021.
We'll wait for that. We'll wait for that.
Yeah, coming right at you. No, but one thing I also did want to say, because ultimately SMRT's Facebook post was with regards to the whole issue, the situation in Palestine and Israel, right? And we have gotten a few questions from our listeners about why aren't we talking about it. And like, trust me, like we have been reading up on our own, and it is such a fucking complicated issue that the only way I was thinking that I would want to approach this topic, which seems to keep coming up and over the years, is to actually talk to a Palestinian and talk to an Israeli, just to start with their perspective, so that we can ask all the noob questions that I have. So yeah, if anyone listening does know, or if anyone listening is a Palestinian or an Israeli based in Singapore or based abroad, but would be willing to jump on a podcast with us, please just send them our way, hit us up on Instagram or our Reddit, because just like how we have done in the past, where we want to talk about issues, so we go to the people who know a lot more than us, that's how I would want to approach this as well.
Yeah. very, very complex issue.
Yeah, very complex issue. And I mean, it's good that there's a ceasefire now, I believe. Right?
Yes.
So, but I would still love to have an authentic understanding of the whole situation. So please hit us up.
Yeah. But
Cool.
speaking of very complex issues, I mean, the next one is also a very, very complex issue, lah. Right? Okay, that was very weak as a segue. But
Segue, that was fucking terrible, dude.
I need a coffee also. I think I need a coffee.
I can sense the end of the dayness in you, Terrence.
It's been a long day, lah. Let's just say
It has been a long
day. A very hurried day. But yeah, this topic I thought was I'm very surprised that you actually wanted to talk about this also. Actually,
Why?
But
Okay, so
but what topic is it first and foremost?
the topic is something that was announced on 14th May, and since then there have been a few articles like giving commentary on it, and it is the fact that NEA recently announced that they are making it mandatory for diners to return dirty trays, crockery, and clean table litter at hawker centers, coffee shops, and food courts. And that leaving litter on dining tables will now be an offense under the Environmental Public Health Act. That means if you don't return your fucking trays, you can get fined. And I believe it's only the elderly and the kids who might get granted some sort of like second chance, lah.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
Ew, I'm gonna bring my kid everywhere I go from now on.
Then you must make sure also your kid eats all the trays that you don't clean. Eats from all the trays. But
that's
it'll be
there's
enforced
still-
in September.
There's still a grace period from now until August 31st, right? From June until August 31st. Yeah.
Yep, September 1st it'll kick in.
Why? What has you so riled up about this topic?
Oh no, don't assume I'm riled up, bro. I just thought it would be an interesting topic because it's like one of those things that, I mean, I can safely say that if you were to spot Terrence and I eating outside once the restrictions are lifted, there's a high chance that we would clear our trays, lah. Right? And I will give Terrence credit for kind of like highlighting this when we first started working together, and it made me also think like, and I think the older you get, the more you see like the elderly cleaners, and like, wow, fuck, it's really like heartbreaking to see them like just clear the trays from, and people who just eat it, like spit on the trays and shit like that, and then just fuck off. But yeah, so I think I wish more people clear their trays. But when a law like this gets passed, right, part of me is like, okay, fine, that's a good law. But part of me is also like, oh shit, can we not do it without a law?
So basically, you wanted to talk about this for the virtue signaling opportunity, lah, to talk about how you've been doing it like for years before everyone else already, lah.
Hey, fuck you, lah. I do realize how that may have come across on hindsight, that I just spent like a minute and a half talking about how I return trays. But you know what? I'm gonna own it. I return my fucking trays. Okay? I return my, and not to say I'm gonna be virtue signaling. I just thought it was an interesting thing because it is it's just like, the Smile More campaign, Be Kind campaign, Use Proper English campaign. It's like all this. It's just I thought we were past that, lah.
Can I just point out that I think the article that you pointed me to in Straits Times is behind a paywall, lah, right?
Yeah, I realized that also.
But no worries. But within the first couple of paragraphs of reading that, right, I was pissed off already. I was pissed off already. Because to give the full context, I don't pay for Straits Times, like probably 99.9% of Singaporeans out there. I don't pay for Straits Times, so if I see a paywall, I just stop reading.
Read the first 6 lines.
I just read the first 6 lines.
Same.
But this reporter started going on about how he or she, I can't remember, was at a food court or something, and then the family of strangers didn't clear up after themselves. Then she had to start clearing because she was going to sit down. He or she was going to sit down there, and then I think he or she blurted out, "Not shy," or something like that. So I don't know, man. I don't like that kind of behavior, like, Not the family who never clear up, but the one who clearing up and then after that still must say something snarky to scold the previous family that was there, you know. I don't like, it's like the kind of like, I don't know if you've been in a situation before. Sometimes you're listening to your headphones or something like that, then you're entering a door, then suddenly the door is swung open because there's someone there already, right? And then someone opposite, then you just quickly pass through because you're already halfway through already, right? You didn't know.
This is what, a door to a building or something?
Yeah, a door to a building or something. Then the person who opened it didn't see you, didn't open it specially for you or anything, and then goes like, "You're welcome," you know, like.
Oh, you cannot have that before.
I cannot have that before. Like I've seen it happen to other people before, like 2 or 3 times already, and I'm like, wait, why? Like, why is there this huge expectation? People must be fucking thankful to you that you decide to do something like civic minded, right? So, and it kind of made me look at this thing as well. And then like, there's a whole range of reasons why people in Singapore have not been trained or do not naturally go and return the tray themselves, and it's over years, many years, this kind of behavior has been built up. So like. This expectation where because she has to clear someone else's tray or that, then she still has to shout not shy, you know, he or she has to shout not shy. I just felt, I don't like that kind of behavior like you need to be thanked for being such a virtuous person, you know. Yeah, that's one fucking rant I had to go on.
So when I started, when I started with my own virtue signaling, were you thinking, fuck this piece of shit also?
No, but you see. That's the thing. I think I've eaten lunch with you enough times. I know that for us we've had discussions about this, and sometimes I tell you, Harish, just leave the fucking tray on the table. There's an uncle here. You make his life harder by bringing it to him, you know. And sometimes logistically, that's the reason, right? And we've had to leave the tray on the table, but we're not giving ourselves excuses. We're saying that a lot of times the infrastructure within a coffee shop is not made for people to return trays. I take for example like the army cookhouse, you know, army cookhouse, the point where you return your plates and everything, right? That's a huge area that they cordon off, you know, just for people to throw their cups and their plates and their spoons and everything, and that's for washing also So not every coffee shop will have that kind of space for that kind of infrastructure to have a very nice clean return area that won't attract flies and animals and shit, right? So if there's someone who can do it better and you are getting in his way doing his job because you insist on virtue signaling, right? Then I think you know, you got to think twice about your own behavior also.
But anyway, the one I think is I mean, like so essentially what you're saying is that it can't be put solely on the people who leave their trays, because there's a lot of other issues that could be better, for example, more tray return stations.
Yes.
So stuff. But I also do feel that how you say, there could be, like, it's something that it's not part of our growing up culture. Like, there are many things that we are told to in school to do, to not do. Basically, like littering, okay. From young, you are told don't throw shit on the floor, okay, because there's a fine. Anyone who went through Singapore will know, don't throw shit on the floor, don't spit, because there is a fine. So this one was never part of the upbringing, and now maybe it's a change, but as much as things could be better infrastructure wise and all that, I don't think it's a bad thing for kind of people to be reminded that they can do more, and I think like that not everyone who kind of wants to return the trays is doing it just because they want a virtue signal, especially in the presence of someone else. Okay,
that's fine. But then would you go the extra step of saying not shy next time you do that to somebody?
No.
I think then you're just being an asshole if you do that.
Yeah, but you know what would be fucking hilarious? If you only read the first 2 paragraphs, right?
Yes,
what if in the third paragraph, her first line is, over the years I've realized that me saying not shy put me to be an asshole. And I've really grown and I've donated 1 kidney and 1 liver to the elderly. Then shame on me. Shame on me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you were
take
being a
umbrage.
piece of shit.
Please
because
take
all you
umbrage.
did,
Take umbrage. Yeah.
because all you did was you read the first 7 lines and you passed a whole blanket statement on this reporter's credibility.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, you
Not
better
on the
check yourself
credibility.
and
Not on the credibility. No, no,
no,
no, no, no. I
no,
just
and Straight
passing on
Times.
the person. This is a not very nice person writing about other not very nice people. Yeah.
How you know she's not very nice?
Because she say this kind of
She
thing.
might be a sweetheart.
Not shy, not shy. Walao, and kind of you're welcome kind of stupid statement.
Maybe that was just the clickbait to get people into the heart of the matter, So maybe this is something for you to realize, but maybe it's something for Straight Times to realize also. Like, you might be creating more problems for your journalists because it's like, like a clickbait title or like a video thumbnail that has like just a lot of skin that might actually talk about important issues, which is what kind of we have done in the past with our YouTube videos. So this Straight Times, your paywall, right, is fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Okay? Do a better job with your damn paywall.
Yeah, okay. So, but so other than sorry to harp on this for so long, but other than just saying not shy, I guess one way would be to just nicely ask the family or something like, right? Hey, do you mind clearing up because we're also taking over the table, or I'm scared of COVID or whatever, right? Nicely ask. No, don't need to be aggressive. Just nicely ask. Do you need tissue?
Yeah.
I also have tissue. You can use some. Pass you some tissue. You can clean up after yourself also. Right.
Would you do that?
If I had a tissue, yeah, I would do that. Yeah.
No, but tissue, like let's say because I'm sure everyone has been confronted with a table of that a group of people just vacated that has so much shit on it, both on the tray and off the tray. And so you're saying that there's no harm in just politely asking, oh, could you help to clear it up, lah?
Yeah. I think there's no harm. I think in terms of when faced with a person who's actually using the table and all that, then maybe they'll be a bit more, more pleasant, they'll be, okay, can. When they actually see that, oh shit, there's someone who wants to take the table now, that kind of thing. But anyway,
so maybe
I think that's I digress very long already, lah. That's just a
so
suggestion.
emotional, no?
No, because I know, people think it's cool to call out bad behavior and things like that, right? But I'm saying that sometimes you end up pissing the other people more, that even more so they will continue doing the bad behavior. You know what I mean?
It's the stuff we see on social media also, where discussions that could be more constructive just do more to polarize, lah.
Yeah. Or if, like, for me, maybe I would find that this whole dirty trade thing is less an issue, because I do know that there are I do acknowledge that there are infrastructural issues and people didn't grow up in the environment and stuff like that, right? So I maybe make a choice not to call it out like that way, But if you really cannot take it, I still advise to do it in a nice way, as nice as you can, and not just shout out some like passive aggressive remark, lah. But yeah, correct. That's sorry.
So moving on past your rant and venting.
Yes.
Like, what do you think of the law itself?
If you asked me a year ago or 2 years ago, I would say, oh, it's terrible, Singapore, please, we don't, everything we pass law. But now, because of COVID and everything, and just seeing how difficult it was to get Americans to wear masks, to get, even Germans, supposedly very clean, efficient people to wear masks. I think, as a human race, we're none of us, don't say what country, doesn't matter whether it's Singapore or whatever country, none of us deserve the freedom to be educated, as opposed to having rules implemented on us.
None of us deserve the freedom to be educated.
Because 2 years ago, that slightly the pre-COVID me would have said, it should be it should be about education. It shouldn't be about passing laws. We should do our best to educate people about these kind of things. But you saw what happened in the crisis in the past 1 year already, right? People still refusing to wear masks, getting in fights over it, going to protesting, marching, and storming the Capitol Hill and all that nonsense, right? I mean, of course, not everything is related to mask wearing, but there's a very huge part of the global population that is against what seems to be the best thing for everyone to do, right? Whether it's take vaccines or to wear masks, or to just don't go out as much, don't mingle in big groups and things like that. yeah, we're not worthy lah of the carrot lah. I think a lot of times the human population needs the stick lah.
Oh, Terrence, you had a really long day, is it?
No, this is totally
much pent-up anger, man.
This is totally what I think post-COVID. There's no controlling anyone in any country, so don't think it's just a Singapore thing. That's another thing that I don't like also, that people think Singaporeans always think we're very special, and there's an irony in itself that I think Singaporeans think that we are special, right? We think that the way we behave is so unique, but it's not, man. Look around the world, man. Everyone said wear masks. How many Americans said don't wear masks? It is against my rights and everything. So if it was as easy to pass laws in America as it is in the US, I think they would have easily wanted to pass a whole law already lah.
You think your stance has anything to do with you also becoming a dad over the past 2 years?
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Because I recall you, I don't know whether we were talking about it on a podcast, but I think there was one discussion with another parent talking about how, with your kid, you can kind of educate them why they shouldn't steal, why they shouldn't kick their cousin or their auntie.
Yeah.
But you can also just fucking enforce something on them and kind of like not take the softer approach, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is with humans also, there's a certain truth to that, right?
Yeah, I mean, COVID-19 essentially was the biggest social experiment, right? To see whether as a globalized human population, we could take steps necessary to help each other, to really help, to give a helping hand to each other and stand together as one humanity to fight COVID and all that. But the results haven't been great lah. Right.
So I think I do. Maybe I don't feel as strongly as you about that, but I would also say that my stance towards softer approach and all has really decreased over the years lah. Because especially with kids, I know I don't have a kid. When I have a kid, I might be a very different person. But sometimes when I see people I know, they try and explain to their 3-year-old why they shouldn't throw a tantrum, I'm like, is that the best approach? I don't know. And I think with I know
you're saying at those.
Yeah, okay. I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
So what are you expecting at those moments? What are you hoping that
I don't know lah, dude. Don't digress, okay? And don't try and corner me into just accusing me of being what you say, not checking my own opinions because I don't know what it feels like to be a parent with a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum.
I'm asking because I have those issues. Like my kid now, if I'm just holding him, then he decides to slap my face or something like that. What do I do? Do I explain to him? You cannot slap people in the face like that, or do I just go no, or do I slap him back?
Yeah, I mean,
those are all real options, right?
I don't know, but I know that for a while the rhetoric was that you will need to always treat your kid as an adult, and I think that one has truth to a certain extent, but lots of maybe not the best for every situation. But I'm not a parent, I wouldn't know. But I think when it comes to general human behavior, I do agree that sometimes you need to be hard on them, and in this case, I think maybe if they, because if you look at the articles by Today and Straits Times and all, not this opinion piece, but when the announcement was made, all the titles were failing to clear your table could soon mean a $300 fine. Here's what you need to know. And it just felt very okay, you know what, this is what it has come to. But then when you put it in the context of COVID, right, it makes so much sense. It removes all instances of fuck, as a society, can people trust us more? Does the government have to intervene? No, when it's COVID, fucking hell, we need to do all we can, man.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel the narrative of this, I don't know whether it was intentional by these mainstream media outlets, whether it's sensationalist, rather than kind of take the practical approach of, okay, there's COVID, we need to do this. They go down the path of the government doesn't trust you, you can't do anything yourself, which ultimately makes people more incensed.
You're saying the media is taking that line.
I mean, it feels like it. You look at all the headlines. In none of the headlines, is there anything about COVID. But if you think about it, maybe COVID kind of gave the government a way to expedite something that was already in the works with regards to this. Maybe COVID kicked off this discussion in the first place, but I think it makes total sense, lah.
Yeah. I think one thing that I know we spoke about infrastructure earlier, lah, right? But not just in hawker centers, but just broadly infrastructure in terms of how we live, how we work, how we play. I think we're still just scratching the surface of what we actually need to change. Not saying that something like I'm not hoping that something like COVID ever happens in my lifetime again, lah. But just the realization that human beings are human beings, which means we are imperfect carriers of germs and bacteria and all sorts of crazy shit around each other, lah, right? And as much as we can love each other, but at the same time we also are each other's biggest threats as well, lah, to some extent. But just the way, we've been over the last 2 or 3 decades, we've been packing more and more humans into cities, packing more and more humans closely, densely packed into planes, into trains and cars and everything as well. I think that all this just needs a big rethink, lah, right? And not the very least the hawker center, which I always feel like there's always an intention to build some infrastructure for a return area for trays and stuff, and I see that a lot in quite a couple of hawker centers. For example, the Geylang Bahru hawker center. I know that there's like one big area that is like non-Muslim, but it's not being used, lah. Like for some reason the hawker center itself, the cleaners or what, they decided that, or even NEA, I'm not sure, lah. They decided it's less efficient to use that as opposed to having just people pushing around their trays, pushing around their own trolleys and picking up the stuff, lah. So I think there have been thoughts about revising the infrastructure in hawker centers before, but probably there is no greater impetus than now, lah, with COVID-19 and everything, to really think about this properly, lah. And then if that's the case, you might as well just overhaul the whole thing and just use the law to push people towards the kind of behavior we want them to have, lah.
Yeah, but I guess the tricky thing is like how will this be enforced? Or will hawker centers soon have safety distancing ambassadors, tray returning ambassadors?
Tray return ambassadors.
And you did, like when you eat, there are more people. If you eat alone, there are more people watching you than not, lah. Yeah. Because okay, take for yourself, like, for example, right, if you go to the hawker center with your kid and you eat by yourself, like to return a tray with a kid in hand, it's gonna be hard, lah, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's gonna be tricky. So maybe there needs to be like some sort of like concession, I don't know, or maybe you go eat in like the parents' area or the non-tray return area so that you get judged. Or maybe it's like MRT, like every table there's a red seat. If you sit there, you don't need to return tray.
Yeah.
You take a red tray, so everybody knows that you're not going to return your tray for whatever reason.
But they have a bunch of those aluminum trays, right? Those tall like aluminum shelves that you can. I mean, one thing is I find like they should have more of those just like conveniently everywhere,
floating around.
Yeah, such that you can literally stand. You shouldn't be walking more than like 3 seconds to get to one, lah. 3 or 4 seconds.
But then the thing is, I think that like how in the food court nobody really wants to sit near the tray collection point if it's stationary. I think if it's just floating around, it might not be the most hygienic to begin with. It might not be the most welcoming to sit around, unless I know there were certain food courts that had these robots that go around to collect trays.
Yeah.
That would be fucking weird.
Yeah.
That would be fucking weird.
I mean, what you say is true, lah. But at the same time, the efficiency of a cleaner pushing the trolley around tables, around crowds, around people to go and clear one table versus like being able to just hit the main hotspots, the aluminium tray area and all. I don't know that actually that kind of thing requires some study, lah. It's a bit like airline seating like that, right? I know like airline seating to the layperson it seems like very simple, just from the back to the front. But
it's
there's actually
algorithm,
there are algorithms and major calculations that go on about how best to board people on the plane. So I think those same kind of studies can and should be done at hawker centers as well. How to, maximize the flow of traffic and making sure that, like what you say, nobody wants to sit next to the aluminum tray when there are like birds or like junk all over and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So is there a way to clear it up more quickly and more regularly, no?
Or maybe they should just incentivize returning trays, not with like 10-cent rebates or anything, but now in a society that craves sort of like social clout, right?
Yeah.
Imagine every time you return the tray, right, the lights dim, there's a light, then like bah, 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 bah,
you ring the bell, and someone rings the bell.
Woohoo!
Everyone claps for
Confetti
you.
pops up and all this shit. Yeah, everyone claps. That would be like every hour, right? One person who returns the tray will have that sort of treatment.
Maybe
it's a
maybe not only that, but they
one.
maybe win like $5 or something. Or it
has to be more than that, like. It has to be more than that.
Every hour, like,
Because
there's a lot of money.
you think about it. Dude, you think about it. There are going to be people who will be fined $300, right? So if you return your tray every hour, there'll be someone who wins $300. It's a perfect system.
Oh, but then you must catch someone who doesn't return the tray in order to reward someone who returns the tray.
I mean, if no one is caught, that's a good problem, right?
Yeah. No, but that's why I think, again, you need to do a study on what is the optimal level of money that people will get, incentivize people to return the tray lah, and not have like Grab create a business out of it, and they like you can hire someone to return trays for you, and then he eventually wins $300, and then you get 50% of that. That kind of crap,
That's true.
Remember, we were just talking to somebody who was telling us about some app in the US that incentivizes you to report your to give them your parking ticket so they can contest it for you, and then they get commissions. So I thought,
when you say contested, you don't mean like a contest lah, like legally appeal.
Yeah, appeal, and then if you get back your money, they get a cut of it and all lah.
Yeah.
But
I think my idea for that, like, someone loses $300, you win $300. That's a fucking dope idea, man. Holy shit. Yeah. We gotta think of
a lottery ticket. You win a lottery ticket to win that $300.
Then it incentivizes the hawkers to the diners to call out other diners who leave. It's almost like a bounty every hour. All the offense fines are collected into this one windfall, and someone will win it. And every hour it resets. And then you just put cameras and then you film the whole thing and make it a 24-hour live stream. Holy fucking shit. That's a self-sustaining ecosystem.
I think if you are the Prime Minister of Singapore, it'd be like every day your life would be like a Black Mirror episode.
That's why.
Fucking hell. My blinds will be closed every single day.
You wait, I tell you. This casino of a hawker center is going to come to life.
Yeah. But but something you said earlier that is very true is that the virtue signaling side of things, if you reward people for virtue signaling, then maybe there might be. You maybe not don't doesn't need to be money but just something like
social clout,
big bob, like such that when you take your photo, I returned my tray, and your skin looks very nice and everything
Yeah, exactly. But, so NEA, hit us up, man. Last episode was the NDP committee for Funpack. Now it's NEA. One by one.
One by one. Dystopian Singapore we're building every day.
Yeah, man. But yes, that brings us to the third segment.
Yes.
Our One Shiok comment of the past few days.
Yes.
Which is, and what is yours, Terence?
You want to go ahead first? I need to pull mine up.
Okay. Yeah, mine is an animated meme by long-time Yalabat Reddit memer bigslothboi. And I think this is one of my favorites. He or she, bigslothboi. Okay, I'm going to assume it's a boy. So he took an excerpt from a previous podcast where you were talking about how to support Indian friends, and there was a 10-minute conversation between us, and he animated it using just like reenacting it as a WhatsApp message and I thought it was fucking hilarious, man. It's on our Reddit. Shout out to you, bigslothboi. That was fucking amazing.
Yeah. My one Shiok comment is from the marcwjacob. I think he was the one that told us about his experience on the Suez Canal. He's a seafarer. So he was just commenting on the whole India accusing Singapore of having a COVID-19 variant thing. And he just talks a little bit about his experience at sea, where there was a container fire on a ship in Indian waters, and his experience dealing with the Indian Coast Guard, based on that. I mean, it's not directly relevant to that whole spat that Singapore and India had about COVID-19, but I think what he's sharing is his experience, maybe dealing with the institutions or the bureaucracy in India, and how it was quite demoralizing for him also. So he totally understands how maybe like how Vivian Balakrishnan felt at that point, So yeah, I always find it interesting to hear from our readers. I mean, our listeners. From their day-to-day lives and everything, what interesting stories come out there, and I think Mark W. Jacob has given us quite a couple of things to think about since he started listening.
Wow, Mark W. Jacob sounds like a stage name or like a Hollywood name, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's his throwaway name lah.
Yeah, throwaway name. Correct. Throwaway name. Discount. Yeah, discount 80%. Yeah, we believe only 80%.
But no, but yeah, so far, I mean, he's the noob seafarer. He calls himself the noob seafarer lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. And then now on to our One Shiok thing.
Yes.
And why don't you go first this time?
I mean, the One Shiok thing I wanted to bring up was, what's the sound?
The camera battery just died. So for this part on YouTube, it'll be just Terrence's face.
Okay. The One Shiok thing is, I think, it's just the NBA playoffs. They've started this year, and it's a very exciting year because not only are the teams, I think, more evenly, more fairly, the talent is more evenly and fairly distributed throughout the league, whether it's East or West, or between teams in the East or West. But also the defending champions, the LA Lakers, they have LeBron James back from injury, but they are the number 7 seed in the West. And the last team that won the championship with a seed as low or lower than 6th seed was the Houston Rockets. That's the lowest seed that has ever won the title before. So the Lakers now, if they go on to the NBA Finals and win it, they will be the 7th seed, the lowest seed to ever win the whole thing. So there's a quite interesting story going on about whether LeBron, is he at an age where his body has finally caught up with him, and can he really will another pretty shitty supporting cast besides himself and AD, not shitty, but they just haven't been performing very well. Can he will them to another final? So there's multiple storylines going on, and then we're starting to see a lot of the younger players come forward and really shine. So, and like you said earlier, the crowds are back, so it's fantastic. It just feels like a very big welcome home party for everyone. So I would advise, if you're, everyone's done in the Premier League now. If you're new to basketball, haven't watched it in years or what, now's a very interesting time to get back into it.
And I mean, the football season not over yet also, right? There's the Europa League and the Champions League.
Yeah, correct.
So I'm assuming that as people are in this coping with Patuha, there's probably a more uptick in people watching sports.
Yeah. Oh yeah, can I mention also that the basically last week I spoke about the NBA doing a play-in tournament as opposed to the playoffs, where they required the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th ranked teams in each conference to play for the final positions in the playoffs. So they had to do a mini tournament of their own, which was awesome because I think LeBron and the Lakers had a crazy game with the Golden State Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, and it came down to one final crazy shot from LeBron. And then these things just they'll live in your memory forever, because it's just such an insane, the stakes were so high, and it felt like a finals game. That's why I'm very super excited about this year's playoffs.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah. So what is your
cool.
One Shiok thing?
My One Shiok thing is a pair of local content creators that I came across when I saw someone else share their IG video. One of their handles is Peakmeister, Peekmaister, and the other one is FRSMRI. And it's a bunch of they do quite a few IGTV videos together, just short skits lah. And it's a mix of English and Malay comedy, and I think they are fucking hilarious, man. And it's a kind of like very over the top kind of physical comedy and verbal comedy, but they film vertical videos, so clearly made for TikTok and IGTV. And I just think it's a very refreshing style of content in Singapore lah, because it's genuinely funny. And yeah, I think they are pretty damn talented, man. So shout out to the two of them. I don't think they have a YouTube channel. I think they're primarily on Instagram and TikTok, but they are talented and funny, man.
Why do you say genuinely funny? Like, then who's
because
genuinely not funny? Or
no, I mean, you do get a lot of content creators who make comedy videos, but I don't know whether they are just in the realm of comedy versus just being purely like actual comedy. And I mean, I personally don't find a lot of the comedy videos or even comedy shows in Singapore being very funny. Whereas for this, I mean, they just do short 2-minute skits of like how boys be on No Nut November, when your friends say they're on the way, when she likes nice guys. But I just thought, yeah, they have a great chemistry, they're funny, and yeah, it's just there's something nice about it. Like it's good shit, man. So shout out to the both of them.
okay.
And check them out. We'll put them in the link in the show notes. What, you think all comedy videos are funny?
No. I'm just wondering what you meant by genuinely funny lah.
Yeah,
like
like I
genuinely
laugh
funny,
out, like,
genuinely
I laugh
funny
out,
to you lah.
I would assume, I mean, their view count's not bad lah. And based on the lols and the smiley faces in the comments, I assume that other people also find them genuinely funny lah.
Yeah. But but there are people with a lot of high view counts and a lot of lols in the comments and all that. But you don't find those genuinely funny. So I'm just trying to understand what you meant by genuinely funny lah.
Yeah, genuinely funny to me.
To you, okay.
Can?
Can.
Boleh? Can.
Let's clarify.
Hell, the happiest part of the fucking podcast. Cannot let it go.
No, yeah. Because
I think you need to go have a good sleep tonight, lah, Terrence. Get some rest. Get up on the correct side of the bed, lah.
No, this is genuinely funny to me when we talk about this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, true. I enjoy the banter also, lah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking today, like, can you imagine if our podcast was either two of me or two of you? Holy shit, man.
That's Black Mirror Society lah.
That's Black
what we're
Mirror
talking
Society.
about. Wow, how depressing would that be? Either way,
exactly. Either way.
On one side, they'll just be like trying to compare whose glass is more full, and the other side is the other one is your glass sucks. Everything sucks. Yeah. You guys go guess
That
who
is
is
true,
who is
man.
who. Yeah.
That is true, man.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. That
See
was
you
a
guys
fun
soon.
ending. All right, thank you guys for listening, and talk to y'all soon.